Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Lamb and welcome to how to create Instagram story templates in Adobe After Effects. With Instagram stories now more popular than ever, if you've ever thought about experimenting with stories to boost your reach or engagement, now is the perfect time. In this course, we'll go through the process of how to create one of these popular modern story animations. Starting with how to use these ready-made templates found in Envato Elements, we'll teach you how to edit them to make them your own. Topics we cover will include how to create and edit different stories from scratch, how to choose color schemes and apply them to your projects, and different transitions for your footage. By the end of the course, you will have a better understanding of these tools and how to make Instagram story templates in Adobe After Effects. So sign in or sign up and let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Instagram Story Templates course. In this lesson, we'll go through how to download, set up, and use the Instagram Story template available in Envato Elements. Simply sign up with a free account, and then in the search menu bar here, just type in Instagram Story, and then click on the search button. We're going to download and use the 50 Instagram stories over here. So this is the fourth option. So we can click into that and then just click on the download button and we'll head into After Effects where we can begin to work on them. Now that we're in After Effects, the first thing we want to do is open up our downloaded file. To do this, go to File, Open Project, and then navigate to the directory where we unzipped the downloaded template. And then you'll find that this template includes a whole bunch of ready-made templates that we can pick and choose from. These are all named according to a theme. So let's go ahead and click on 10 stories here for an example. And we can see that we've got things like car logo reveal, Christmas, fast opener, music planner, and so on. They all work exactly the same way, however. So let's go ahead and pick one to get started. So for this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and choose Fast Opener, as this can be used for a variety of different themes. So let's click on that. And then let's click on Fast Opener Instagram to open up the After Effects file and click Open. Now this, depending on what version of After Effects you have, you may need to convert the version. So let's go ahead and click OK. And here you'll see that we are greeted with two different compositions. So the first one here is All Scene, which is a breakdown of all the different comps that make up the 14-second story. So for this one, it's broken down into 4 separate scenes. So if we scrub back and forth in the timeline, you can see how each of them is animated. Next thing we need to do is replace the background images with our own. So to do this, let's go ahead and create a new folder here. And this folder we're going to call Edit Files. And now let's go ahead and go to File, Import, and let's import multiple files and then navigate to where your stock images or videos are. And then we're just going to select all the videos or images that we want to use for our project and then click Import. And then you'll see that all those videos are now imported into our project. Let's just click and drag those files, make sure they're inside the edit file folder like so. And now they're ready to use for our project. So let's begin to replace our images by looking at the first scene. So double click on the first scene here and you can see we've got 2 comps. So we've got scene 1 comp and scene 1 comp _ 2. And if we open these up, you'll see that we've got the text and the images that we want to replace. So let's close these over here and let's go ahead and open up scene 1 and let's look at the image or video files. So you can see that they're labeled image or video, and we want to go ahead and open up the image or video 01, and this will be the first image that we want to replace. So you can see here, this is the image here, replace this. So we can hide that. And let's go ahead and replace this with our first video here, like so. And if we zoom out so we can fit this to our video, we may want to make some few adjustments to our video. So let's open this up, go to transform, and you can see here we can scale it up or down, and we can also change the position of our video like so. So let's go ahead and go to the beginning of our timeline. Let's find a nice section of the video here to start our Instagram story. So we can start with this little video here like so. Cool. And then if we go back to our all seen video here, we can scrub forwards and you can see our first video has been replaced like so. So let's go ahead and replace the next video. So we want to replace this one here. So let's open up image or video 02. Open this up. And you can see we've also got a replace this file here. So let's hide that and open up our next video here. Click and drag this into our comp like so. Remember to make sure that this video fits our template. So let's open this up, go to transform. Let's scale this up a little bit so that it fits. And we want to make sure that we are finding a nice section of the video here. So this nice little action scene here would be good for a start. So let's do that. And let's change the position slightly here as well so we can see our subject in the middle of the video. So let's move this forwards a bit just to get a bit more action in there like that. That's looking good. And then just go back to the all seen video here just to see what that looks like. Awesome. And now we want to change the next transition. So this is going to correlate to the final image of scene 1. So let's open this one up and let's choose another image or video here. So hide that, click and drag that one in. And let's go ahead and fit this to our composition. So transform, scale it up, and then let's find a nice little action sequence like so. And then go back to all scene and you can see that's now been replaced. Excellent. So now that we've replaced the images with our videos that we want for our Instagram story, the next thing that we might want to do is also change the text over here as well. So you can see that scene 1 has 3 text scenes that we can go ahead and edit. So let's go ahead and do that now. So the first text over here is Envato Presents. So we can easily go ahead and double click here and change this to whatever we like. So let's go ahead and change this to, let's say, Instagram, and then change the second text here to stories, like so. And now that we've changed this comp here, if we go back to all scenes and remove caps lock, you can see that Instagram stories is the new text that we've got for our scene here. Awesome. Now I've just gone ahead and replaced all the scenes now with our own custom videos. So you can see scene 2, I've gone ahead and replaced the image or video comps like so with our own videos, and the same with scene 3. You can see over here in this little preview thumbnail button, we've got our own custom videos here, and the same with scene 4. So under the edit folder, again, just replacing the image or video folder. And now if we go over to render comp, our render comp composition, we can go ahead and review our Instagram story one final time by clicking on the play preview button over here, like so. And here we have it. You can see how easy it is to use the Envato Elements templates to make a really nice, dynamic looking Instagram story ready to use. Awesome. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to create one of these Instagram story transitions from scratch. See you all there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Instagram Story Templates course. In this lesson, we'll go through how to create a scene that you can use for your Instagram stories from scratch in Adobe After Effects. So let's begin by creating a new composition in After Effects by clicking on this button here. We're going to Composition, New Composition, and we're going to rename this Scene 01. We want a height of 1920 and a width of 1080, frame rate of 30, and a duration of 10 seconds. But this can be changed later if we need more or less time. Once you're happy with that, click OK. And now we've created a new composition here. Now, once we've got our composition ready, let's go ahead and import the images or videos that we're going to use into our project. So exactly like what we did in the previous lesson, let's go ahead and create a new folder in the project panel. And let's rename this into Edit, Files. Make sure that the folder is selected. Then go to File, Import, Import Multiple Files. And we want to select all the videos or images that we want to use, and then click Import. And now this will add all the images or videos into the Edit Files folder. Cool. Now, before we begin adding our images and creating our scene, let's start by organizing our project so that it makes it a little bit more easier to use in the future. So let's now create a new folder again, and this time let's call it Scene 1. And then make sure that it's outside of the Edit Files folder, like so. And from here, let's go ahead and open Scene 1 and create a new folder here. And let's call this Edit, like so. Now, all we have to do from here is select the Scene 01 folder and press Ctrl D on the keyboard 2 times to create a Scene 2 and a Scene 3 folder, respectively. And these will also have an Edit folder inside. Now, the Edit folder is where we're going to have our edit images or videos, exactly the same as what the template has in the previous lesson. Awesome. Now we're ready to start our first scene. So let's go to the Edit Files folder here, and we're going to drag our first footage into our scene, like so. And before we do anything else, let's go ahead and pre-compose this footage. So right-click, pre-compose, move all attributes to the new composition, and let's rename this vid01, like so. Click OK. And we're going to move this composition, vid01, into the Scene01 edit folder. So let's click and drag this into the Scene01 edit folder just to keep things nice and tidy. And let's open up the vid01 folder here. And we're going to choose a cool shot of our subject. So this shot of him in the air would be nice to start with. So let's start with him in the air like so. And maybe move the video so that he's in the middle of our composition. Cool. So we've got something like that. Go back into our scene once we're happy with what we've got. Like so. And then from there, what we can do is we can start to add some keyframes to our scene. So let's begin to add some keyframes to create our animation for our story. So the first keyframe is going to be in the first 5 frames. So let's add a position keyframe on the 5th frame, like so. Then moving forwards to 19 frames, let's add another keyframe to the position and click and drag our video to the left. Excellent. Now, once we've done that, let's go ahead and highlight both of our keyframes like so. Right click, go to Keyframe Assistant and select Easy Ease. Then with both these keyframes still selected, go to the Graph Editor. And then we want to fit the all graphs to the view. And we want to move the handles all the way to the right, like so. So that we've got a straight line on the right-hand side of the graph. Excellent. So now that we've moved both the handles as far to the right as we possibly can, let's go out of the graph editor and then just sort of moving back and forth in our timeline, you can see that our footage is moving over to the left, which is exactly what we want. Next, let's go ahead and enable motion blur to our layer. And we want to add a motion tile to this layer as well. So let's go to Effect, and then go to Stylize, and then go to Motion Tile, like so. And we want to add a few of these, or edit a few of these options here. So the output width, we want to edit this to 400, and the output height to 200. And then we want to enable mirror edges. And you'll see now, once we move over in our timeline, you'll see that we've got a new mirrored footage on the left. Excellent. Now this will help our transition for our next footage, which we're going to add now. So let's go to Edit Files, go to our next footage that we want to add, click and drag it into our composition, like so. Then we're going to pre-compose this. So right click, pre-compose, rename this vid02, and we're going to move this composition into our edit folder, open it up, and let's go ahead and change our video, or edit our video, so that our subject is in the most interesting pose. So here he is up in the air, like so. And then once you're happy with where your footage is, go back to your scene composition. And let's go ahead and move this forwards into our timeline where it's going to transition. So let's move this to 16 frames. And we're going to add some keyframes to this as well. So on the 16th frame, add a keyframe for position. And then at 1:13, let's add another position keyframe. And moving back to the 16th frame, let's move our footage over to the right. And then let's move our layer over to the right slightly as well. And then selecting both our keyframes, let's move them 1 frame back to the left. So we've got 1 keyframe on 16 and the second keyframe on 1:13. And you can see as we move back and forth, our footage is moving from the right into our view. Select both of these keyframes, and then we're going to easy ease them. So right click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. Go to our graph editor, and this time we're going to move our handles all the way to the left. So as left as you possibly can. Go out of our graph editor, and let's choose and select a motion blur effect for this layer as well. So once you've done that, we want to add a motion tile to this layer as well. So go to Effect, and then go to Stylize and select Motion Tile. And there's going to have exactly the same settings as what we had for our previous layer. So 400 for the width, 200 for the height, and select mirror edges. And now you'll see, as we scrub back and forth, our footage is successfully transitioning from one to the other. Now let's add a distortion effect. So go to Layer, New, and Adjustment Layer. And with that layer selected, go to Effect, Distort, and Optics Compensation. Now with this added, let's go ahead and check Reverse Lens Distortion, like so. And now we're going to add a keyframe for the field of view effect. So let's go to the 5th frame here and add a keyframe for field of view. And let's open up our effects for the adjustment layer so we can see where it is in our timeline. Then let's move forward to the 18th keyframe and add another keyframe for our field of view. And this time let's crank this up to, let's say, 100, like so. And then from here, let's go to 113 in our timeline and add a keyframe there as well, and then change the field of view value back down to 0. And then once you've done that, select all the keyframes, and as we've done before, right-click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And now, if we go ahead and preview our story, you'll see that we've got this cool distortion effect as we move from one video to the other. So let's go ahead and watch that again. Awesome. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to create the second transition scene. See you all there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Instagram Story Templates course. In this lesson, we'll go through how to create our second scene transition that you can use for your Instagram story. So now that we've completed the first scene transition, which moves our images to the left and right, let's add another type of animation to give our Instagram story a little bit more variety. So over in the project panel here, let's select our first scene, our scene 01, and duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D on the keyboard. Now let's move this to scene 2 and close scene 1. And inside scene 02, we want to rename this scene. So composition, right click, go to composition settings and rename this to scene 02. So that's the correct name. And now what we want to do is we want to open this up by double clicking it. And now we can close our scene 01 composition. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to remove all the layers apart from our vid 02 layer. So select the adjustment layer here, press delete, and select the vid 01 layer here, and then press delete. And now let's go ahead and move our video. So at around, let's say here where he's jumping, let's move that video across here like so, where it's just about finishing. And now you can see the beginning of our comp here is where our skateboarder is halfway up in the air. And from here, we're going to add our new animation. So let's go to about 1:15, like so. So at about 1:15 in our preview time, let's open up the vid 02 layer here. And we're going to make our layer into a 3D layer by clicking on the cube here to make it 3D. And now this will give us some extra rotational options for our transform. So at the Z rotation here, let's add a keyframe at 1:15. We want to add that keyframe, and then let's move forwards to about 2:06. And let's add another keyframe here. And from there, let's change the Z rotation. Change the Z rotation here to 17 degrees. And then if we move back to the first keyframe here, which is at 1:15, let's add a position keyframe here and then move forwards back to 206. And we want to change the third position value. So now that's a 3D layer, we've got a third position value here. We can change this to minus 1,500, like so. So hopefully you'll see we've got a nice sort of zoom in effect, like so. And this might be zooming in a little bit too much, so let's bring this back a little bit more. In fact, let's bring that forward a bit. So that's minus 1,400. So minus 1,400 should do the trick. Like so. So now it's rotating and zooming in towards the camera. Like so. Excellent. So now let's go ahead and add a new adjustment layer on top of this. So let's go to Layer, New, and Adjustment Layer. And now let's add Optics Compensation to it again. So go to Effect, and then let's go to Distort, Optics Compensation. And let's add a field of view keyframe at 115. So let's go to 115 in our timer here, and then go to Effects, Optics Compensation, add a field of view keyframe here, like so. And then at 206, just where it's about zooming in here, like that, let's increase it to 100, like so. And then again, let's go ahead and check the reverse lens distortion, like that, just to remove the black borders. Excellent. So now we've got a field of view effect here, like so. And let's add a final keyframe at 301. So let's move forwards to 301. And let's change the field of view back to 0, like so. And then highlight all three of those keyframes. And as usual, we want to go ahead and right click, keyframe assistance, and easy ease them. Now let's go down the effects and controls panel, and let's change a few of these things. So make sure that the reverse lens distortion is on, and let's change the field of view orientation from horizontal to vertical. Now you'll see as we scrub back and forth in the timeline, we've got this nice zoom effect going on in our image. Next, let's add our next image to the comp by clicking and dragging it as we did before from the project panel. So let's go back to Edit Files, and let's choose our third video here, like so. Click and drag it into our composition just above Video 02. And we want to make a pre-comp out of this as well. So let's go ahead and right click on the video. I'm just going to move this up so you can see where the options are. And then select Pre-Compose, move all attributes to the new composition. And we want to rename this Vid 03, like so. Now let's go ahead and open up our Vid 03 comp by double clicking on it. And let's go ahead and make some adjustments to our footage. So open up the footage here, and let's scale this up so that it fits our comp. And we're going to move our timeline to the beginning. And let's see where there's a nice action shot here. So we want our action to start over here and maybe continue for a few seconds, like so. Cool. So once you're happy with the few seconds of action that you've got in your Vid 03 comp, let's close that. Go back to our Scene 02, and we're going to move our Vid 03 layer forwards to about 206. So let's move that forwards to 206, like so. And we're going to, what we want to do from here is we want the transition of our video to zoom in. And now we want this one to have a new rotational animation effect. So let's go ahead and give this layer motion blur as well. So let's select motion blur for this. And we also want to make it a 3D layer as well. Now, once we've done that, you can see that actually, once we've created it and made it into 3D layer, we can actually see the layer below above our video 03. And that's because we've moved the video 02 further forwards in our scene. So in order to remove that, let's just crop our video 02 all the way to 206 so that we can transition it safely to our video 03 layer. And once we can see our video 03 layer, we can go ahead and start making some more animations. So let's open up the layer at 206, and we want to give it a Z rotation of 17 degrees, exactly the same as we did for our previous video. And then at 301, so you can see here at 301, let's add another keyframe and change the Z rotation back to 0. Awesome. Now let's go back to 206 in the timeline, and let's go ahead and add a position keyframe. So let's add a position keyframe here, like so. And with that keyframe, we want to change the third value to 8,000, like so. So now we've made it really, really small. Let's move forwards back to 301 in the timeline, and then we want to change the position value, the third value here, back to 0 to create a new keyframe. And from there, let's go ahead and add a motion tile effect to this layer. So make sure that vid03 is selected, go to Effect, and then go to Stylize and select Motion Tile. And now let's use the following settings. So with the tile center, let's make the value 540, 960. With the tile width is going to be 100. Tile height is 100. The output width, we're going to change that to 660. And the output height, we're going to change that to 560. Make sure to check mirror edges. And now, as we scrub back and forth, you'll see we've tiled our images, our video, and you can see it sort of rotates. We're missing a Z rotation here, so make sure that we've got the 17 degrees keyframe, and now you can see it follows the rotation of our previous image. Excellent. And then once you're happy with this sort of kaleidoscope effect animation, remember to go back to the project panel, and let's do a little bit of tidying up here. So remember to give the vid03 comp and move it to the edit folder for scene 02, and then close that. And then make sure that the scene 02 comp is inside the scene 02 folder. Excellent. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to create the third and final transition scene. See you all there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Instagram Story Templates course. In this lesson, we'll go through how to create our third and final scene transition that you can use for your Instagram story. So let's start by duplicating our scene 2 by pressing Ctrl D in the project panel. And then let's move the scene, the new composition, to scene 03. And let's open that up. Close our scene 2 comp. And let's rename this scene 04 to scene 03. So right click on that, go to composition settings, and then let's rename this scene 03, like so. Next, let's go ahead and remove all the layers here. So let's delete all the layers here. And let's go ahead and move our next video into the scene, like so. And we want to pre-compose this. So let's go ahead and right-click, pre-compose. and we want to rename this into vid04. And from there, let's go ahead and move vid04 into the edit folder of scene 3. And we want to open this up and make sure that we're in the correct place, or we want the video to look exactly how we want it in our Instagram story. So making sure it fits in our composition exactly like what we did in the previous lessons. So in this case, everything seems to be okay. So let's go back to scene 03. In fact, let's move the leg so that it starts in the middle of the scene, like so. Cool. So now once we've done that, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a little bit of a sort of zoom bounce effect. So let's move forwards to about 111, like so, and create a new keyframe for scale. And then let's move forwards to 121, and let's scale the image up to about 115%, like so. And then move forward to 211, like so, and then create another scale keyframe. And then move forward to 221, and then let's scale it back down to 100%. Select all the keyframes, and then let's go ahead and right-click Keyframe Assistant Easy Ease. And now, if we scrub backwards and forwards, you'll see we've got this expansion and then back down again. So it's just a nice subtle animation to end our Instagram story with. Awesome. Now with all 3 of our scenes finished, let's go ahead and put them all together into our final render comp. So let's go ahead and close this here, like so. And we want to create a new composition here. So let's go ahead and go to Composition, New Composition, and let's rename this Final Render, like so. And now let's go ahead and drag all of our scenes into this render. So let's open up scene 01 and select scene 01 here, drag that in. Open up scene 02, drag scene 02 in, and then open up scene 03 and drag that in here as well. So let's hide the first 2 scenes, and I'm just going to move forward into our Instagram story so we can see where the animation is where we want our transitions to be. So at about, let's say, 3 seconds, let's go ahead and move our scene 02 to 3 seconds. Open that up. So it's, in fact, let's time this up a little bit. So let's move it here, where they're both at about roughly the same point in the video, like so. So just play this just to see how it looks. And then let's move forwards, keep moving forwards to see how our animation is going. And then let's say at about 7 seconds, let's transition to the last part of our animation, which is scene 3. Cool. And then we can end it at 10 seconds, like so. In fact, let's move this forwards a little bit. And from there, we can click on the play preview button to see what our Instagram story looks like. Cool. So you can see how all of our scenes are now working together to create a nice 10-second Instagram story. Excellent. So everything is transitioning well together. What we can do for our third scene is we can add a nice fade-in effect here, just to make the transition a little bit smoother. So let's open up our scene 03, go to transform, and let's create a keyframe for opacity. And let's move the opacity all the way down to 0, like so. And then at around, let's say, a few frames forwards, let's make the opacity 100%. So now if we play between the two scenes, we can actually make that a little bit smoother by bringing it out a bit. You can see we've got a nice fade-in effect for our next scene. Awesome. So now everything is transitioning nice and smoothly. So once you're happy with the final animation of your Instagram story, we can start to add some final touches to our design as well. So let's go ahead and import some designs from Photoshop. So go to File, Import, File, and let's import some layers from Photoshop. So let's import the first one here. Keep editable layer styles. Click OK. And we can go ahead and open up our scene 1 here. And let's make a new folder and call it PSDs. And move our first PSD inside here. And we can click and drag that on top of our Instagram story. And you can see we've got this nice sort of design for our first scene. And we can even animate these layers as well. So let's go ahead and double click into our Photoshop layers. And let's open up our first layer, which is squares. And let's make a keyframe for position. And let's go forwards to about 5 seconds. And then just using our selection tool here, let's move the squares a little bit like so, just to add a subtle movement animation. And we can do the same with the text as well. So let's go to transform and create a keyframe for position, about 5 seconds, and another keyframe at the beginning. And then at 5 seconds, let's go ahead and move our text like so. And then you can see we've got this nice movement here. We can see when we go back to scene 1, they're moving along with our animation as well. Cool. Now let's go ahead and go back to the final render, and we can do the same for our final scene, which is scene 03. So double click on scene 03 and let's import our next design. So import file, go to our next design here, import that. And let's move the next design into PSD folder as well. And let's move that on top of our vid 04. You can see we've got this new design here. Open up O2. And let's go ahead and make some subtle animations for this as well. So for the shop, the collection, let's open up the transform and let's change, instead of position, let's make a keyframe for scale. So let's scale this up a little bit. So at 5 frames, let's scale this to about 105%. So we've got this nice sort of subtle movement here. And for the swipe up, let's go ahead and make a bounce effect for this swipe. So let's open up the transform, create a position keyframe at the 0 point at the beginning of our timeline. And let's go ahead and move this swipe up down so it's at the bottom of our composition. And then at about, let's say at about 3 frames, at the third second mark, let's move this up. In fact, let's create a keyframe for 3 seconds first, and then let's move this up slightly at about 305, and then move a little bit forwards in the time frame, move it down again, and then a few frames further forwards, move it up again, and then a few frames forwards, move it down again. So we're going to have this sort of bouncy effect for this swipe up. So we'll go up, down, like so. And then just to smooth it all out, just highlight all of these keyframes here. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. And then just sort of preview the animation so that you're happy with it. So let's preview this like so. Then we just want to make it a little bit smoother. So let's move that keyframe a little bit forwards. Like so. Cool. So we've got this nice little bounce effect for swipe up. And then if we go back to the final render, so if we preview this, you can see where the animation is going to pop up. And you can see it's a little bit too late. So let's go back to scene 3 and move our composition forward slightly for our design, and then go back to the final render and then click play again and just see where this is going to pop up. So that's a little bit better. So it comes up quite early and we can see the rest of our Instagram story animation. Now, another thing I've noticed is that our design just sort of removes itself quite abruptly at this point here. So what we can do is we can also create a nice fade in effect for scene 02 as well. So let's open up our scene 02 comp, create an opacity keyframe here, and then move forwards a little bit, and then create that, make that opacity back down to 0, like so. So in fact, it should be the other way around. So let's go back to the opacity keyframe at the beginning of scene 02, make that 0, and then at about 2 seconds here, let's make that 100. So now we've got this nice transition. So it should be smooth out here, like so. And then the same here. Excellent. And you can always adjust where the design comes in as well. So I just noticed it's a little bit too quick. So let's play that again. And now you can see there's a little bit more time before the button pops up. Excellent. So we've got some nice designs, some nice transitions for our videos, and a nice swipe up button. So we've got a nice call to action for our Instagram story. Excellent. Next, let's add some music to our composition. So go to File, Import, File, go to where your music file is located, select it, import, and then just simply click and drag the track into your scene like so. And then all we have to do now is click on the play preview button to have a look at it. And there we have it. A completed Instagram story we've created from scratch. I had a lot of fun creating this course, so thanks for watching, good luck creating your own Instagram stories, and I'll see you next time on Tuts Plus.